everyone for tuning in Friday night. Really appreciate all of you young men and young ladies being here. Logan Robeson, appreciate you being here and laughing with 48 people on the call. Logan, could you please mute your phone? We have a very special speaker this Friday night, one of my favorite players of all time. He's currently a rising junior at Dartmouth University, one of the best universities in the world, played in our West Coast League program since 8th grade. So he's going to speak to you guys for about the next 8 to 10 minutes, guys and girls. And then we're going to have about 15 minutes of questions. And without further ado, would like to welcome Wes Slatcher, our guest speaker.
What's up, everyone? I'm Wes. Excited, glad that Coach Silver is allowing me to talk to you guys. It's really cool for me. I owe this program a lot. Like he said, I played through middle school, all throughout high school with the same program. It's pretty rare. But West Coast Elite was just so special to me. And it's really to give back and talk to you guys. And I want to start by just saying that, again, I was in your shoes. I played in every level. I was traveling across the country. I was doing the long drives to practice, juggling the homework and everything going on. Granted, with everything with the pandemic has changed the situation a little bit, but the message I want to pass along it still applies. And I really just want to talk to you guys and girls about my experiences and just leave you with three main things that I wish I knew when I was in your shoes. So I'm a SoCal guy from Oak Park, California, which is about an hour north of Los Angeles. And I love the game, and just like I'm sure all you guys and girls do. Anyone that knows me knows I love to compete, and just knows how much work I put into my game. But growing up, I didn't have the opportunity to play against top competition a lot of the time, and I didn't really recognize when I was young. I was just young and playing, but as I started to get older, started to realize that the position I was in wasn't playing against the best competition and wasn't going to make me the best player. So a relationship with Ryan and a desire to play with and against the best drove me to West Coast Elite. And like I said, it wasn't easy with long drives of practice, a lot of travel, a lot of time commitment, really tough competition, really, really good coaches. It was challenging in a lot of ways, but I knew West Coast Elite, just trusting in the process, trusting in my coaches and the people in West Coast Elite, would allow me to play on a national stage and be successful if I stayed patient and kept working. And I can't, attest to that in college and at the next level. Coach Silver and all the coaches within West Coast Elite, as I moved up throughout high school, really stressed to me the importance of making a 40-year decision and not a 4-year decision, and just really, really making academics a priority. Remembering that the ball will stop bouncing, and one day I will have to live the rest of my life without playing basketball. And I think, I'm so thankful that I listened to those lessons growing up. And it really starts now at a young age. I started really thinking about that when I was like 14 years old. And it was just, it's something that I was always mindful of, because the decisions and the time and the energy you guys put into schoolwork, guys and girls, now will pay off. Those habits that you build now will ultimately be the habits that you fall back on when, adversity hits and when you're asked to really perform, whether it's on the floor or in the classroom or anywhere else. But yeah, so I ended up, gaining some offers and getting recruited by different schools throughout, trusting the West Coast Elite process and just continuing to get better, continue to listen to my coaches. 3 years after I committed to play at Dartmouth in the Ivy League, I'm just really glad I listened to that message from all my coaches. And since I've been at Dartmouth, I've been really fortunate and had some good success on the floor and off it. Every day, it's a challenging situation. I'm going to really hard classes. I'm presented with playing against really good players in basketball, but the situation is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm meeting some of the smartest kids in the country. I'm being pushed by some of the best professors in the I've been able to meet senators, see the CEO of the largest bank in the world, different CEOs, CEO of Nike, all different types of people because of the place that I go to school, and the energy that I put into my academics along with my athletics growing up. I've had job interviews and job offers with some big companies and some of the biggest in the world. Just places where when I was your guys' age, I wouldn't have dreamed of it. But um, I think just the stressing the importance of learning how to balance academics and balance the commitment to getting better are the two biggest things that I can pass along at this age. I think the one big component that I think I want to leave everyone with is that just you're on this call because someone here believes in you. One of the coaches, or if not all of the coaches, thinks that you have what it takes to make it to the next level, and they're all good evaluators of basketball players, but they're also good evaluators of people. And be confident in your ability to perform on the floor, but be confident in your ability to perform off it too, because people here believe in you. And just be all in and don't let that person down. Be grateful for the energy that they're putting into you, because I promise the coaches and the people within the West Coast Elite program are working really hard for every single one of you within the program. And it's something that as you grow up, you start to learn that not everyone in your life is trying to help you the same way that they helped you when you were younger. And really, West Coast State is one of the few places where everyone there is really just trying to do what's best for you. So trust in that, like I did, and keep working, and you can make it to the next level. And then the final thing I really want to pass along, and probably the most important thing I want to say, um, is that instead of trying to change the things around you or place the blame anywhere else, you just need to focus on getting better. A lot of young players, and not just young, but players, in any age group, players on my team now, um, just fall into a mental trap of saying I'm not playing enough, or I'm not getting enough shots, or my team isn't winning enough, my coach doesn't know how to use me right. Just all of those things, they may be enticing and they may be true in some aspects, but they won't change anything and they won't get you better. All of those thoughts are just a trap. I'd say that when you all hopefully make it to the next level, every single day is a battle for opportunity. It's earned, not given, and you guys have earned an opportunity to play within this elite program, and play for these great coaches. But just remember that you have to continue to earn those opportunities. All of those things, all of those excuses you can make, not playing enough, not getting enough shots, whatever it is, they will absolutely happen in college and at the next level. And if you can't handle it the right way now, and you kind of don't understand that that's just a reality, a college coach will be able to see it. College coaches have been watching young players for a long time, and they can immediately tell when a young guy can't stay focused, can't be grateful for their situation, can't continue to get better when adversity strikes. And they know that playing in college, ultimately all those things will happen. So if you can't respond the right way as a high schooler, then they don't think you can respond the right way in college either. Playing for West Coast Elite and playing is really similar, and it's a privilege, and it's really challenging, but it's similar, on purpose. And I think as a young player, you can understand that things won't go your way every single time, and there may be struggles and adversity that hit you, but the best way to respond to it is always by looking in the mirror and asking, how can I improve? Like I said, it'll carry you on in basketball, and it'll carry you on in life, to a higher level, and to reach your dreams ultimately. And just a final thing I'd leave you with is relationships are everything. Continue to cultivate and build those relationships. Like I said, I was your guys' age in the program, and I'm still now 3 years after I wore a West Coast Elite uniform, I'm still on a Zoom call with you guys thanks to the relationship I have with Coach Silver and everyone in the West Coast Elite family. It's really important. They were a huge reason why I'm able to play at the next level. But they're also a huge reason why I had such a good time in my experience, because I invested in the relationships I had, and ultimately that was what made it so much fun. It wasn't about playing at the next level. When I was playing AU, it was all about just winning games and trying to win for my brothers, or sisters now, trying to win for my coaches, and just trying to win for the program. And I think if you can buy into that, the success, on the other side will be huge, and you'll reap the benefits, just wholeheartedly. But that's really all I got. If you guys have any questions.
We're now going to open up to questions. So Dre Fox, text your questions, put them on the chat. Just ask your questions on the chat, and Wes will answer them. Dre, question. Dre Fox.
Do you want me to type it or ask it or do both?
Ask it now. Ask it, please.
Okay. What was your choice for Ivy League? Was it because the academics, or did you also like the sports?
Yeah, I think it was a combination. The academics were a huge piece for me, but there were high academic schools that reached out to me that weren't, playing a higher level of basketball. The Ivy League is now like a top 12 conference in the country. I think there's 30 conferences, so it's a really competitive, environment. And obviously I like most of you guys, I'm sure you're hoopers at heart. And school at times can kind of be like the harder part to kind of find the motivation for. But along from just opening up so many doors in life, it opened up a lot of doors in my recruitment, and being sure that I, made academics a priority. It just left so many doors open for me that, I'm thankful for. Next question was, what was my recruiting timeline and when did Dartmouth start recruiting me? So the first call I got from Dartmouth was after my sophomore year. My recruiting timeline was I was young and I was eager to kind of prove myself to college coaches. I was 14, 15 years old and ready to start blowing up and getting offers and all that. But I learned quickly that wasn't going to do it. It was more about staying patient and getting better. It was such a long journey. I can't tell you guys the amount of players I know or the amount of players I played with that, had tons of offers or college when we were 15 years old. And then by the time, it came to go to college, all of a sudden they were looking for a place to go because they didn't keep working and they didn't stick with it. So my recruiting timeline was, Dartmouth started recruiting me after my sophomore year, but I'd recommend everyone just staying patient and staying working is really just the most important thing, and the timeline will all follow. Another question was, what's the difference between high school basketball and AU versus college? And it's really similar in a lot of ways. AU is a good proxy for college basketball because it is really intense, and you're playing against the best players at your age group. Just like in college you will be. The difference would be just in college basketball, because there's so much more practice time. There's kind of more of the mental side of the game. You're learning a lot more plays and more defensive coverage and this or that. But in terms of the energy of college basketball versus AAU, it's similar. Everyone's competing, and it's an intense environment. Playing with West Coast Elite definitely got me prepared for that pressure and for that intensity. And I'm thankful for that for sure. Someone asked, what was your daily routine in high school between balancing homework and basketball? So I was always a guy that, struggled to get my homework done before basketball. I'd finish school and be itching to get on the floor. We usually have like a practice after school or whatever from 3 to 5. But I always made it a priority to get my work done before like 11. Because I knew if I didn't get a good night's sleep, I wasn't going to be able to hoop the same way that I wanted to. And I think basketball can be a motivating factor in getting your work done. It still is for me to this day. Like I don't love doing homework, but I love playing basketball, and I know that getting my homework done is a piece of my game that's important, because if I don't get that stuff done, I won't be able to play, and that's really all that matters to me, and that's kind of the big motivation for me. What mentality do you take when you step on the floor? I learned this from Ryan himself. he told me when I was like 15 years old, he said every single time you step in a gym, you got to think you're the baddest MFer to ever enter the gym. And I take that with me to this day because I think as you move up in competition level, it gets harder and harder to to keep that confidence because it just gets harder and harder to score, harder and harder to have success on the floor. But when you're not confident, players can smell it out, easily. I know everyone knows that feeling of when you're like locking a guy up and you're starting to see him lose confidence, and you never want to be that guy. So I think that mentality is just like you got to just wholeheartedly believe that I'm the dude out here. And I struggled with that, and I developed that throughout high school. Coach Silver can tell you that I had confidence issues a lot at times, but that mentality is definitely something I'd love to pass along to you guys for sure. Um, Someone asked, what was the toughest challenge for you in the recruitment process? It was hard to stay patient, but knowing what I know now, it should have been so much easier. It's such a long journey, and it's really hard to contextualize when you see people or guys you think you're better than, getting offers or getting recruited by this school or that school. But I promise you, it's a long journey, and a lot of those guys I knew, those offers ended up not being as true as they seemed, or it just the biggest challenge was staying patient. But I advise you guys all to do that because it'll make you a better player. It'll make you more happy with yourself. It'll make you just kind of mentally more healthy with the whole process, and just never kind of losing faith. I'd advise to stay patient for sure. Um, Someone asked, was there any major setbacks you experienced? If so, when, what, and how did you deal with it? Yeah, absolutely. The setbacks were always rooted in that there was a valid excuse, whether it was I felt like I wasn't getting the opportunity, or the coach wasn't using me right, or this or that. I totally felt like I was right in that. But the way I ended up dealing with it was realizing that even if I was right, that didn't mean anything, and that wasn't going to change anything. The only way I was going to change anything was by getting better. And ultimately, I ended up realizing that a lot of time the coach may have been right. Maybe I didn't deserve all those shots at the time. But when I put the work in and used it as a motivation, and rather than using the blame game, it really changed my whole approach to basketball and all my success for sure. Someone said, do you have any advice on how to get recruited or noticed? This program is so amazing in what it can do and the platform it can provide. So if you give your all to this program, if you dedicate your all to this program, I promise you the coaches here will be putting their work in on their end to get you in front of coaches, get coaches to notice you. As long as you're taking care of your end, I know that the West Coast Elite coaches will definitely be doing their work on their end. So just trust in that. You have to be patient. You have to keep working. Those things they're said a lot because they're really true. And I know when I was your guys' age, I wasn't ready to hear that, but I believe it for sure. It's very true. Just stay patient. Someone asked what made me choose Dartmouth over other schools. So I decided I wanted to play in the Ivy League, just because of the balance of academics and athletics. And then once I had a few other Ivy League schools recruiting me, but I ultimately just chose Dartmouth because of the fact that I just had a really strong relationship with the coaching staff. I felt like other schools in the league may have wanted me, but it was kind of a situation where they would have loved to have me. Where I felt like Dartmouth truly wanted me, truly wanted the best for me. And I've said this to now to all three or the previous two calls. Said like basketball players have a good sense of people and a good sense of who wants the best for them. So I just trust your gut. When you ultimately end up getting recruited and talking to coaches, you'll know when a school really wants you, and when a school really wants you, definitely take that into account, and you won't be sorry for it at all. Someone asked is it difficult to manage academics and basketball while in college? It definitely is. It's no different from what you guys are doing now. It is there's a little bit more work, and practices may go a little bit longer. But the habits you guys build now will translate directly to what I have to do every single day, and what you guys will ultimately be doing, guys and girls, will ultimately doing in a few years from now at the next level. So just know that when you're building your habits today, every day you do something, you're building a habit, and every day you do something that's a bad habit, it gets harder and harder to break out of. So don't dig that hole. Dig the hole in the place where you want to stay. Is some good advice for you there. And in terms of managing academics and basketball at the same time. What sort of workouts have you been doing during quarantine? Do they give you a program? What should these boys and girls be working on? Yeah, so I'm lucky. They've given us a program. I'm sure there's so many resources out there. I'm sure you guys within the West Coast Elite program have a lot of resources. I'm sure that all the coaches you guys have will be willing to give you anything to work on. One thing I'd say, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. But in terms of my experience, being able to shoot the basketball is always a good skill to be working on. Another thing that I didn't hear enough is work on your confidence. Like, this is a good time to really, really, like, watch your highlights. Like, remind yourself, because it's easy to forget when you're not playing ball how talented you are, how much potential you have. So I advise you all to watch your highlights. Remember what you can bring to the table, and kind of just stay excited about the game, because it will come back. This will all pass, and there will be a time when the lights come back on. So just be confident when that time comes. I'm going to work on building that confidence now for sure. That kind of leads into the next question of how did I develop my confidence? Well, it took some hard conversations and some long years, and some failures. But ultimately, I learned that I was a better player when I believed in myself. And that was really all there was to it. And I think when I'm waking up, when I'm working out, I try and keep my head, all the good things. But it's easy to look at yourself and push yourself down, and look at others and think, oh, I'm not as good as them, or push them up. But watch your highlights. Remember what you bring to the table. Be confident. Just by always, like, reminding yourself when you get down, remind yourself of the good times, the good things you've done, rather than harping on the bad ones. And it's kind of funny for me to say that, because that was just such a struggle for me when I was younger, and I'm sure a lot of the West Coast Elite coaches know. I struggled with confidence a lot, but it unlocked my game when I started to realize that confidence was just the most important piece, more so than any kind of technical skill. I had to believe in myself before I could do anything on the floor. Another question was, what's my best game I can remember? I actually think about this one a lot, because it kind of goes into the confidence piece and reminds me that I should stay confident. When I was playing 16s, we played We Are One in the UA circuit in New York City. Really good team. Some high level players. Ended up beating them. I hit some big shots down the stretch, and that was when I kind of proved myself, like, I belong here. And that moment will come for all you guys if you just keep working. It's rewarding, and you'll eventually prove to yourself. Everything, all those dreams that you have, everything that you see in your future, you're well on your way to getting. As long as you just keep working on it and stay patient. The question: how's the player experience on a high level team? Is there a specific role that you fit in and try and improve? Yeah, there absolutely is. They're in college and on some of your West Coast Elite teams. You may not be the most talented guy on the team, but every college is looking for players that fit into roles and fit into teams with good players. It's one thing. It's one thing to be the best player on a bad team, but no college coach is looking at a kid who's the best player on a bad team and thinking, he'd fit well into my good team. So as long as you can play your role and do what you do well on your team, I'm sure that there's a coach looking for exactly what you provide. Proving that you can play within a really good team isn't always about scoring the most points or doing the most, getting the most assists or whatever. But, that helped me get recruited, was understanding that if I was able to play on a really good team, then I could play in college. And it wasn't about, scoring 25 a game or this or that. And that's definitely something you could work on developing right now, for sure. How often important is it to be reaching out to coaches right now? I wasn't actually reaching out to any coaches at your guys and girls' age. I was just working on getting better. It's always good to build those relationships, but we're all lucky that we're within the West Coast Elite family, and there's a lot of people advocating for us, and doing that to try and get us all noticed and get us to the next level. So I think just the most important piece, above building relationships now, would be just keep getting better. But then those relationships will definitely be coming soon. The better you get, the more and more the coaches will be reaching out to you, and you won't have to be reaching out to them all the time. The next question was, how is the transition from high school to college academically and physically? Academically, it was challenging. Just more time management skills, things that you guys can absolutely be working on now, and things I wish I worked on better when I was your age. I have teammates that built really good habits in high school, and college is really easy for them because of it. And I think physically, just it is a lot more physical. Your body is such an important piece, to your game. Guys like Zeph Lee really helped me. And there's so many resources within the program that just stress that importance of getting your body physically ready. Just even for high school ball, let alone college ball. Next question was, what was my first step in the process of finding and choosing a great school to attend? First step was first of all getting able to speak with the coaches and getting to speak with Coach Silver and the West Coast Elite coaches, and kind of just picking their brains about, hey, is this the right school for me? What are they, because they've been through this process with tons of players, and then obviously talking to the coaches there and seeing if I feel comfortable. That was definitely the first step for me, but that only really came when I earned it. And I think the focus should definitely be on just earning that call, earning those opportunities now, and they'll come. And then couple questions at the end here. Am I better than my younger brother Clark? If not, how old were you when he first beat you? So my younger brother is going to Penn next year, so I'll be playing him in Ivy League, and I am better than him. So he's never beaten me. We'll see if he beats me next year. But yeah, we'll answer that question next year. Then last question: if I have to pick one guy one-on-one, Matt Elkin or Scott Martin? I'm gonna go Scott Martin because he was a part of the 29-1 Ryan Silver coached El Segundo High School JV team, and I have not seen him play. So I'm gonna go with Scott on there.
Thank you so much,
There
Wes.
you have it, folks.
Thank you so much, Wes. Fantastic job. We all appreciate you. If you could leave your cell phone number for the boys and girls to contact you, that would be great. Really, really appreciate you, Wes. Amazing job. And thank you. And hopefully you remember us all when you're the CEO of Google in 10 years. So thank you. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Work
Coach.
at 9:15 tomorrow. 9:15.
Yeah.
Martin, I expect you on the call. Hey, thanks, Wes. Appreciate you, man. It's great seeing you, dude.
Yeah, awesome. Really good to talk to you guys. Thanks for having me on. I miss you guys.
Yeah, dude. Take care of yourself. Tell your family I said hi.
Will do.
All right, see you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Wes.
No problem.
Thanks, man.